Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
And we welcome you back to Talk of the Town for this Wednesday, May 13th. I'm Gary Stevens. We'll be open line following the 11 o'clock news, but in our next segment, we are chatting with Lieutenant Eric Westveer of the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department Marine Unit. He checks in from his office on our Zoom connection. Eric, good morning and welcome back to Talk of the Town.
Good morning, Gary. Thanks for having me again.
Appreciate you joining us this morning. And of course, if you wish to have a question about boating safety and water safety, you can call us at 395-1450, 395-1450. A month ago, we were talking about maybe restricting boating just for boats that don't have motors, but now it's been pretty clear that that is now an exercise a lot of us can be certainly enjoying, and it does at least put one less thing on your plate, and being the Marine unit's plate about trying to enforce some of the laws, or in this case, an executive order from the governor.
Right. Yep. And as you said, boating the restrictions have eased up. Warmer weather's coming, so I anticipate more people will be taking advantage of the warm weather and the fact that they can get out there on their boats once again and start enjoying the summer that's coming up.
Now, I just want to refresh my memory on, and I believe it's the term, Operation Dry Water. That is a national effort, and of course the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department is involved with it as well. It's really aimed towards stifling drunken boating, but it's also a good way to sort of get the message out about making sure you are boating safely, not only in operating the vehicle, but also having operating the boat, but also having the vessel with its proper safety apparatus in tune.
That's right. That's exactly right. And, to go back just a little bit to how you started that Operation Dry Water, we are participating in that again this year like we have in the past. That's over the weekend of the 4th of July this year. And we will have heightened patrols to very specifically target intoxicated boaters. But like you just mentioned, we also take every opportunity that we have, every vessel stop, every safety inspection that we have with speaking with boaters to go through their safety equipment, to remind them of certain safety items to keep in mind while they're out on the boat, proper PFDs, flares, the required equipment. So we take every stop also as an opportunity for education and teaching as well.
One thing about equipment, and I want to focus a few moments on this, Eric, is the fact that at times, yes, you want to make sure that the apparatus is installed or available in a quick measure when time is of the essence, when you have to deploy these the apparatus. But a lot of times, well, maybe I'm overstating it, but some apparatus, well, they aren't designed to last forever, and you might have something that might be brand new in 2017, but by 2020, you're going to have to either upgrade it or refurbish it a little bit. What are some of the common things that people need to just make sure that everything is in working order in that regard?
Yeah, so I guess the two biggest things I would hit on are, number one, your PFDs. Like you said, over time, being out in the weather conditions in the sun, they can break down. The straps can break down. The plastic buckles can break. So when you get your vessels out of storage this next few weeks, take time to go through each of your PFDs to make sure that they're in good working condition and that they're still holding together well. Same thing with your throwables. If your boat's one that's required to have a throwable, make sure that that's in good working condition as well, and there's no frays, rips, or tears. The other one that we see that can get missed are your flares. Those do expire after a few years, and there is an expiration date printed on those flares. So I would take a peek at your flares and make sure that those are not expired. If they are, West Marine or any other marine store carries those, and you can easily replace those on your boat.
The other thing in that regard, not just flares, but also for maybe bigger vessels, is the fire extinguishers to maybe stop a fire. I know that every year or so we have a member of Holland's Department of Public Safety Fire Services unit come in, or independent contractor, to make sure our fire extinguishers in the building are A-OK. You're going to have to do that with a boat too.
That's exactly right. There's no difference between fire extinguishers on boats. They are in buildings, like you said. They have to be checked regularly. And again, when you take your boat out in the spring, it's a great time to go through those and make sure that they are still good. And one other thing on that, the brand Kitty, which is a very popular fire extinguisher, about 2 years ago had a recall on certain fire extinguishers that were very common on boats. So if you do have a Kitty brand that is a couple years old, I would recommend that you go to their website and make sure that your model number isn't one of those that were recalled.
395-1450, 395-1450. If you have a question for Ottawa County Sheriff's Lieutenant Eric Westveer, he is with the department's Marine unit, and they're responsible for making sure not only the inland waters, but also the offshore waters of Lake Michigan and along Ottawa County are safe, and also dealing with matters in terms of making sure that people are safe as they go into the waters as Allen State Park, Tunnel Park, Grand Haven State Park, or even North Beach as well. Good morning. You're on the line with Sheriff's Lieutenant Eric Westveer.
Good morning. Maybe you covered it, but I'm interested in knowing, do they carry AEDs on the boats and how well they're prepared for a cardiac arrest situation? Thank you. I'll hang up the list.
I appreciate the call. Thank you very much, Eric.
Yes, we do. In fact, our patrol vessels do have AEDs, and all of the Marine deputies are AED, CPR, and first aid certified.
You know, that answers that question real fast. But then again, you know, you never, you know, let's put it this way, having issues knows no boundaries, knows
Exactly
no
right.
time as well. 395-1450, 395-1450. Boating safety is one thing. The other thing, and I want to bring us up again, is especially with Lake Mac, especially in the waters of the Grand River, hey, no wake situation right now. We got enough problems with high water. You don't need to compound that with a speeding boat or a speeding personal motor vehicle moving around, the jet skis.
Right. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of the things I wanted to touch on, because the warmer weather is coming. Boats are starting to get out there. The traffic is going to increase out on the waterways. And with the higher water levels that we have right now, we are having a lot more issues on all of the waterways in Ottawa County with boat wake and the damage that it's doing to the shorelines, to boats that are in slips. But also there's been some safety issues because of that with people on the docks. The water's coming over the docks, and the boat wakes have been, knocking boats around with people getting on and off. So for all boaters that are residents of the lake and people that travel in to use the lakes, just keep in mind that with the high water levels this year, the wakes off your boat are going to create a lot more issues than normal. And just to help quell that, be respectful of the, running along the shoreline and close to docks and pier heads.
395-1450. Let's get to, as they say, a line that has somebody actually on it. We are chatting with Ottawa County Sheriff's Lieutenant Eric Westveer. He is with the Sheriff's Department's Marine Unit. And if you have a question about boating or water safety, he'll be happy to answer it at 395-1450, 395-1450. Another topic that we need to sort of bring up almost on a monthly basis, and Eric joins us during the boating and water season on a monthly basis as well, is, I know it's fun to go out and maybe get to the end of the pier, Allen State Park, Grand Haven as well. For those south of the Ottawa County area, South Haven, be out there and you can see the waves coming by. Holly and I were in Holland State Park for a brief bit on Saturday afternoon, and it was a good west wind coming in.
Oh, yeah.
No way, absolutely no way, Eric, was I going to even think about going on the pier. And maybe I'm being a wimp. I'd rather be a live wimp than a dead, a brave person with that. The pier is there for a reason, and it's not there as a sightseeing and a tourist attraction.
Right. And like you said, the main purpose of the pier heads is for navigational purposes. However, we all know living out here that it is a tourist attraction, and it attracts numerous amounts of people daily. And like you said, with these high water levels, you've got to be very careful out there, because especially on a windy day like you mentioned, it does not take a whole lot of wind to create a wave that will start washing over that pier. And the water right now is still very cold, so if something were to happen where you get washed off the pier, you're going to be in cold water, and the chances of hypothermia are extremely high right now. The other issue with the high water level on those piers is the fact that there's a lot of standing water on there, which can cause algae. And we all know how slippery algae can be at times. So we have had some cases of slip and fall accidents where people have hit their head and not gone in the water, but we've had injuries on the pier from slip and fall. So all of these things have to be considered before you go out there and enjoy the water. Just do it safely. Make sure you're watching the weather conditions before you do go out on the piers.
Not just the piers that jut out into Lake Michigan, most notably Holland State Park, Van Haven, South Haven, but even the surfaces near the water as you go further inland. I was noticing the waves coming right over the concrete walls there. And, if you don't have the nice, good shoes, and you're in the water and you're in the drink, and you don't want to have that type of bath right now.
No, you're exactly right. And I assume you're talking the blue rails there along the channel wall in Holland. The water is coming in, and again, you're going to have that same type of a slippery surface. And if you do go down, it's very possible that an adult-sized person can still go underneath that railing into the water. And again, now you've got the hypothermia issues that we're going to be dealing with.
We're talking, by the way, we're talking with Ottawa County Sheriff's Lieutenant Eric Westveer. And if you have a question for Eric, he'll be happy to answer it at 395-1450, 395-1450. I'm thinking about the pier and the dangers that are there. And unfortunately, I believe since the last time we chatted, we closed a case stemming from the first of the year of a young couple from out of the area wanting to go to Lake Michigan, never been here before, and coming with some tragic results. And it leads me to the point, Eric, and I know you want to amplify a little bit on this as well. We're speaking to the choir here. Those of us who live here or work here or have been here for a number of years, we're well aware of this. The key is get this message out to people maybe on other sides of the state aren't aware of this. And that unfortunately, Eric, might be easier said than done.
And you're exactly right. It is. Like you said, everybody that lives around here and grown up around here, they know what it means to go out on the pier when we're talking about the weather. They're very familiar with the types of currents that are associated along the piers and by the beach, be it your rip currents or your structural currents. The issues, like you said, that we see most commonly are people from outside of the area that aren't familiar or comfortable with that. And before they realize that, they find themselves in a situation that they're not prepared for or experienced with to get out of. And again, how do we get that information outside of the general area that we're in to help protect them? And that's something that we concentrate on daily and try to get out through interviews like I'm doing right now, and hopefully get that information out to the public.
Not only an interview that we will have podcast on our website at WHTC.com, but we're also recording our Zoom video as well, and we'll have it on our Facebook page, 99.7 and 1450 WHTC. We'll upload it a little bit later on today. Good morning. You're on the line with Ottawa County Sheriff's Lieutenant Eric Westveer.
Yes, good morning, Lieutenant Westveer. Knowing the legislature passed that bill in March for the temporary no-wake buoys for the inland lakes, Lake Meketawa, Spring Lake, etc., what is the current status for actually placing those temporary no-wake buoys? Because we always have those wild people, and I live on the lake, and it was the last couple of weekends they were just roaring their motors. They are water skiing, and therefore those wakes just are rolling over our seawalls and our docks. I know you had to get together with Holland, City of Holland, Holland Township, and Park Township, and I just wanted to know how that situation is going, please.
Yeah. So the situation, the progress that we're making actually is going very well. We are to the stages now where very soon there will be some public hearings on this information, and then it'll be forwarded to the DNR for their approval. Once the DNR approval is in place, then the buoys will be moved to reflect the new zones, and information will be put out to the public as to exactly where those temporary zones are. And again, I say temporary because the new act is a 6-month temporary change in zones. It's not permanent. So we're looking for something temporary for the summer to help relieve the issues with the high water and the property damage and some safety issues. So we are still working on it, and the progress is moving forward actually quite rapidly and very well.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the call. 395-1450, 395-1450. If you have a question for Ottawa County Sheriff's Lieutenant Eric Westveer, the no-wake situation would be temporary, but as we have seen from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, high water is still going to be a problem throughout the spring and summer along the Great Lakes, so it's not going to ease off anytime soon, I'm afraid, Eric.
No, I don't think so either. And I think we're just starting to see the beginning of the water levels rise for this season. Thankfully, that temporary status is good for 6 months. So it will get us through this entire boating season. And then again, next winter, we can reevaluate next summer and see what we have to do to help out then as well.
Yeah, because water knows no season and water knows no legislative actions. It's just water.
Yep, exactly.
395-1450, 395-1450. If you have a question for Ottawa County Sheriff's Lieutenant Eric Westveer about boating and water safety, I would say we are about, under normal circumstances, Eric, I would say maybe a month to 6 weeks away from really having, especially in Lake Michigan, water's warm enough where we have to worry about people having fun in the water at the beaches.
Yeah, and I would agree. I would say that you're right. We're probably 4 to 6 weeks out from that, because generally it takes the water temperatures for that to rise before we start to see some of the issues out there, not just the air temperature. But there is going to be an increase of people at the beach with the warmer weather and out on boats. But yeah, once those water temperatures come up, I see we're going to have a full swing summer ahead of us real shortly.
Yeah, even with stay home or staying safer at home executive orders, people are going to be chomping at the bit. And the reason why I'm going to bring it up, and not so much this update, but maybe the next time you chat with us, Eric, is the fact of just reminding people about some of the practices if you're going to go swimming in Lake Michigan, about dealing with rip currents and just being able to get out of a rip current situation. Some things to keep in mind. Again, though, that might be good for next month, because we'll have more people talking about that as well. I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up, Eric, with you as a law enforcement officer, because this is National Police Week, where we honor those in blue, or in your case, brown, who serve and protect. And many of the events along National Police Week, unfortunately, are not going to be held because of the COVID-19 situation, but there will be the candlelight vigil tonight for those who have lost their lives in the line of duty. And it's, being the son of a police officer myself, I'm well aware that my dad might leave for home one morning and not come back the next day. And it's something that, every family member of those who serve, we live with that every day, and people need to understand that as well, even if it is in your situation being a boating safety.
Right. I appreciate it. And like you said, this is the week of the year where we do remember those that were lost, as well as the families that, exactly like you said, grew up in it and are involved in it as well. So.
Yeah, and we appreciate you joining us today, and the timing of this particular conversation certainly is somewhat poignant. Now, we've been talking a lot, Eric Westveer, about dealing with boating in a inland lake, or a large body such as Lake Mac, Spring Lake up in the Grand Haven area, a little boating on the Grand River, the larger bodies of water like Michigan as well. But there are some smaller bodies as well, a couple of man-made lakes that, some of the rules, you got to abide by them as well. Even though you're not on the big lake, the problems can be just as big.
That's exactly right. And there are confusions with that, but any body of water that a vessel is on, even if they're not connected to the big lakes, like you said, they still have to abide by all the same laws that you do on the Lake Macatawas or on the Spring Lakes. You still have to be registered. You still have to have proper flotation devices. All of those same rules still apply to your boat, even if you're on what you might call a private lake or an inland lake.
Now, is it tougher at times to police those inland lakes? I'm thinking of the one in up in Jenison, the other one in Hudsonville, just east of Hudsonville as well. Is it tougher to try to make sure that the laws are being held and used there? And maybe you're going to need maybe the public's help to say, blow the whistle on somebody who's not obeying the laws of the water.
It is. And the reason that it is some of those lakes, we'll use the Jenison, Hudsonville area ones, for example, like you said, a lot of those were created man-made from former gravel pits. And they're good sized bodies of water. The issue that we have policing those is the access to get on the water. The water itself in the state of Michigan is public. However, there is no public access to get on that water. So we do need the help of the residents of the area to get the access onto the water. Or, like you said, someone to contact us saying, so-and-so isn't abiding by this law. Then we'll go out and we'll look at taking action on that. We try to get onto most of those lakes at least once a season to get out there. But again, there are some complications when it comes to that as far as the access.
Do you deal with access issues to other bigger waters issues? If somebody might say, hey, wait a minute, this person, is trying to get onto Lake Michigan on my private property. Is that the Marine unit, or is that more basically the surface unit of the Sheriff's Department in that regard?
That could be either or. Either unit could handle it. As far as trying to access water from the land side, a lot of times one of our road cars will handle that. I've experienced in the Marine unit, since I've been involved in this, that we get a lot more of the property owners calling us because boaters are coming onto the property water side. So they'll come up on Lake Michigan, anchor a few feet off, and then they'll come up onto the beach outside of that high water line and then trespass from the water side. So that's the side that the Marine unit deals with.
Yeah, that's an interesting point there, because a lot of times people would say, hey, the beach is public property. Well, yes, but it's only public property to a certain level, isn't it?
Exactly, and that's what we call the high water mark. And that point towards the water, yes, you can walk the water's edge at the high water mark, but past that is considered private.
And of course, the high water mark is, we got high water right now, so there's not much lowland to be able to enjoy that as well. Exactly. When we put our podcast of this particular conversation, Eric, on our on our Facebook, on our website at WHTC.com, I'll also put a link to the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department's Marine Unit with more information on boating safety and some of the rules of the water that really are there. It's not there to be a killjoy. It's really there for public safety, not only for those who are boating, but those who live by the water and, make their living by the water as well. We all got to pitch in to be able to be safe on the water.
And that's exactly right. Our main goal with the Sheriff's Office Marine Unit is education and safety. So everybody can go out and enjoy their recreation, enjoy their days off, enjoy the water, their boats, and come home at the end of the day safely as well.
Sergeant Eric Westveer, I want to thank you very much for joining us today on WHTC's Talk of the Town to talk about boating safety. And next month, as we get closer to having people bobbing up and down in the water, and hopefully bobbing nice and safe up and down in the water, we look forward to chatting with you again next month on water safety as well. Have a good month, sir. Safe month. And we look forward to talking with you next month.
Thanks again. We'll see you then.
All right, that is Eric Westveer, the Ottawa County Sheriff's, still sergeant, but he will be a lieutenant shortly with the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department's Marine Unit. WHTC's Talk of the Town will resume following CBS News with Steve Kathan at the top of the hour and WHTC News with Peg McNichol. And some open line time before the WHTC Midday Report at the bottom of the hour.